Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So we got some more Terry McLaurin news. A lot of people are making a big deal of what Terry McLaurin shared on his IG story. We also got some news about Dan Quinn and him staying in contact with Terry, which I think is good news. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and that notification bell as well. It's free. It takes 1 second. All those things actually really do help out the algorithm to push this content out to more people. So, besides that, let's get right into the video. So we have right here what Terry said, and I don't really care what people say on social media, stuff like that, unless it's like a player unfollowing the team or a teammate or whatever, and even then sometimes it's not that big of a deal. But with this, I don't think it's a big deal, but a lot of fans are making it a big deal. I saw people comment it on I think on one of my videos and some on my Twitter asking me, so I just do want to talk about it. But just to preface, I don't think it is a big deal at all. So what he said, he just posted on his story, which he really doesn't do that much, where he'll just post some of these like cryptic lyrics or whatever. So he says, I wake up and go get that cake. I ain't the type to relax. So you could take it a bunch of ways. You could say, you could take it that, he's just hungry. He wants some cake. That's not it. I mean, it's a lyric from G Herbo. I forgot which song, but I was listening to it a little bit just to get a little bit of the message. I just think it means, he's getting up, grinding every day, trying to get that money up, and he's not satisfied. I ain't the type to relax is that part. So, he's waking up every day trying to grind, and he's not satisfied with much, but he does want to get paid. So that's kind of what I took from it. I don't think it's like a crazy message or anything like that, but I know some people were going crazy about it. But I think that, yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's not a big deal at all. On a scale from 1 to 10, probably put it like a 2, 3, not 2, 2. A 2. I don't think it's a big deal at all. He's just, it could be there's a good chance it's just random. He's just putting a lyric out there. There probably what is likely it's a little bit of a message, but it's not aggressive at all. And he's just putting it out there. He wants to get paid, and he's working hard every day. He's not satisfied, and he is trying to get paid. So that does make a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And yeah, so that's kind of it on the Terry front. Again, don't make too much of a big deal out of it. I think, again, it's just him being him. Honestly, though, this isn't really like him. But again, a lot of these players, they have to kind of play these games in order to get the deal they want. And sometimes that means not going to OTAs, to training camp. Sometimes that means some media appearances where you're not talking too favorably about the team. Sometimes it means cryptic messages on social media, unfollowing certain, players, teams. I don't think that's really what Terry does and what he, is. But, I think that's all part of the game of this whole situation. It happens with all these receivers. Like it happened with Brandon Ayuk last offseason. And, obviously he got paid. So, I think Terry, it'll be fine. And I would say, hopefully within the next couple weeks he gets paid. But we're going to have to wait and see. And if he's not paid come training camp, which is in 12 days, it'll be interesting. Is he going to hold out? If he does, then I think that's a little OD for him to hold out during training camp. I think you got to separate it at that point. You miss your mandatory OTAs. I was about to say voluntary, but mandatory OTAs. Miss that. You know what? Whatever. It's a little annoying, but it's fine. But missing training camp, I would say, is a big deal. And it's one thing if he goes there without a deal and he's still practicing. But if he goes there, if he doesn't go there, then I would say that's a pretty big deal. And that leads to big fines, holdouts. Training camp is a whole different level if you don't go there. And I don't think, not a lot of players do that. Not a lot of players hold out during training camp. So it'll be, I would say that's definitely something to watch out for. and see what happens. It could accelerate the timeline and make it just so that the deal gets done quicker if he starts missing some training camp days. I don't think that's Terry, but maybe, he just really wants the deal, the money, the security, the respect, and maybe his agent also is pushing for that. So just something to watch out for. And this is from, shout out to Brandon, my guy, but James Palmer said that Dan Quinn has remained in contact with wide receiver Terry McLaurin throughout the offseason. McLaurin doesn't want to reset the market, but is looking at the 7 receivers who are paid 30 or more. So the $30 million is the minimum. I think what he's probably asking for is around 33, 33.5, which is a little bit more than what DK Metcalf is making, and I think he deserves that. We'll see if he gets it, but he deserves 30 plus. I would be really interested to see what the negotiation is looking like right now, what their top offer has been, what the issue is. Maybe it's not the AAV. Maybe the AAV is fine. Maybe it is the guaranteed money that is the issue, or maybe they don't like, Terry's camp doesn't like how some of the deal is structured, signing bonus wise, or void years, which I don't really think affect the player much. It might affect how the money is coming in, but that doesn't make a big deal. So I don't know what's the holdup here. It probably is the AAV trying to get to a middle ground. Maybe Terry is playing a little bit of hardball, trying to get 35, 36. He knows he's not going to get it, but with a negotiation, you always have to start higher than what you want. Because if you want 30 and you start out 30, you're giving yourself no room to improve. The max you can get is 30. So if you want 30, you might need to start negotiating at 37, 38. And the other side, maybe they want to get you at 26, 27. They'll start at like 20. And I don't think they would be that disrespectful, because if you're that disrespectful, then things are going to be a little bit difficult for you, and you might hurt the relationship. But maybe they start at like 25 or 26, and it kind of moves from there. So 30 is the lowest I would see a new deal being per year, but I think it'll be more than that. I think it'll be $33-ish million a year, and I think Terry deserves that. 3-year extension. You don't got to make it a lot. He's about to turn 30. He is under contract for the 2025 season, so he's going to play on this contract. Even if it doesn't get done, I think he'll still play, obviously. You got the 2025, and if you extend that 3 years, 2026, 2027, 2028. So that would be Jaden's full rookie contract that Terry would be under contract for. So I think that is a good scenario to have. And then from there, you can try to rework it. 3 years from now, Terry, 3 years from now in the same situation, he would be, 32, about to turn 33, and having one more year under his deal. And they can work it out from there. But right now, it's focusing on this deal, trying to get it done so that there's no distractions during the season or right before the season. It's starting to become a distraction, and if he doesn't go to training camp, like I said, that's when it becomes a distraction and something that you really want to, you don't want that to happen. And then other things, let's see. For some reason, when I read this the first time, I was reading it as Jaden's in the next season of quarterback, but no, it's just he's featured in season 2 of quarterback. So I think I might have mentioned that in the other video yesterday. My bad on that one. And then the other housekeeping, just random stuff. Laramie Tunsil ranked 86th on the top 100 players. So that's that. Cool for him. Hopefully he can play like that or better this year for the Commanders. And besides that, nothing else. The uniforms look cool, and pre-order looks crazy in terms of how long it's going to take to buy them, but it is what it is. I think we're all going to get them, and those jerseys are going to be at the top of the sales charts, especially the JD5 ones, so JD Cinco. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys new, and peace.